So, find my page here. This story was published in Hobart last month, which is a print and online journal. It's hobartpulp.com. I put on my suit. It's a business suit. I'm a businessman and I mean business. I mean business with a big B and an ampersand. So from now on I will say I'm a businessman ampersand because it sounds more business-like to be a businessman ampersand I mean business. Sometimes the phone rings but no one is there when I say hello. My wife crosses her legs as I look back to her, reading a fashion magazine in our fancy house or home. She looks up and asks, "Who is it?" I say, "Gee, honey, I don't know. Do you know who it is?" But no, she says, she doesn't know who it is. She asks, "Would you be a deer and take out the garbage?" "Oh, sure," I say, slamming the phone on the marble floor. "Would I be a deer? Would I prance around, or maybe even fly, like one of Santa's reindeer?" "No problem," I say. "It's Christmas after all. It was Christmas, and I mean Christmas." There's more. I ask her, "Is that what you want, dear? Do you want me to fly away?" But no, she says, she doesn't want me to fly away. Instead, she asks, "Would you try not to drink so much when mother or father is around?" And I say, "Oh, of course I won't drink so much when they're around. After all, aren't I the responsible one? I'm a businessman, you know. I'm responsible." It's a capital R, responsible. And she says, "Well, yes, dear, that was true once, but lately you've worried me so, and I just don't know, and I think, you know, it's not so much to ask that you not get so loaded while my parents who paid for this house, our home, are visiting their house, their home. Is that too much to ask?" And I say, "Yes, actually, that is too much to ask, because I can't stand your parents. I mean your presents. I can't stand your present parents, and I need a little hair of the dog in order not to slip my fucking wristwatch in the rub-a-dub. Know what I mean?" I ask her, "Or do you want me to break the garage door opener again?" The phone rings again, and I say, "Hello." Then I answer the phone. I hear someone breathing. It's a man. I say, "Hello." And he says, "Hello." It sounds just like me, I think. An echo, perhaps. But he begins to laugh. My wife uncrosses her legs as I look back to her. She hikes her skirt and lifts her finger to part the lips and asks hello. The man continues to laugh, so I slam the phone on the marble floor, and it shatters into a billion pieces, dotting the slab that is the base of our house, our home. The voice still laughs. I look back at her. My wife is laughing, but in his voice, my voice, she laughs at me, but really it is I who is laughing. I am touching myself. I tell her, I mean business. I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman and I mean business. I tell her, I'm going to find a new wife, a young wife, a new young wife who won't laugh at me in my own voice. She says, "That's fine, dear, but I'll need your keys, the keys to this house, our home." And I say, "Oh, really? You need my keys? Well, that's just fine. That's great. In fact, they're right here." I searched for my keys in my business pants, but all I can find is myself, and I'm touching myself and thinking about keystrokes, and I can't find them. And I think, "It's okay, self. We'll just stay right here where we belong. We don't need a new wife. This one's fine." And she says, "Actually, now that I've thought about it, I would rather make a new husband. Please get off my marble floor. You're in this house, my home." On the street, everything is rotten. The birds don't flap their wings, they just fall to the ground. But you can't eat them because they're rotten. They've decayed past the point at which you could cook them over a garbage fire with the boys of the block, sharing lukewarm tallboys and arguing about the best way to skin a catatonic whiskey bitch of a wife. She took my keys, he thinks. She took my house, my home. My marble floors will go to shit, and in a week or so, the plants will take over everything. They'll suck the house, the home, down into the ground, where it will become part of the root structure of my wife, who will grow as tall as the buildings in downtown. Perhaps I will go there to apply for a job working inside my wife, he thinks. I will ask mother and father for a good position, he thinks. I will tell them I'm a businessman, and I mean business. God damn it. They have to respect me. His face grows red as the blood that pours from the birds of the street. I mean, for God's sakes, look at this fucking business suit. I mean business, goddammit. He began to foam at the mouth. The boys of the block don't know what to do, so they walk away as the foam pours from his mouth, filling the streets with a madcap sort of styrofoam-type foam that he will, for the purposes of marketing, etc., call styrofoam, which preserves the rotting birds as they fall into the foam as it covers the earth in white. After all, he thinks, it is Christmas, and I mean Christmas. The children come from all around to play in the styrofoam, and his wife looks down on him from her lofty perch amongst the buildings of downtown, and she laughs in her own voice for once, and cries, "Oh, my dear, isn't that wonderful?" Startled, he looks up her dress as she parts her lips. She smiles and expounds, "Oh yes, yes, my dear, it is wonderful. The children are playing in my styrofoam. I am the king of Christmas, and I mean Christmas with a capital C and an ampersand." And she says, "Oh no, darling, I met that man over there playing with the children." The businessman asks, "What man? There's no other man. There's only me and the children." But sure enough, he sees himself across the street playing with the other children, building styrofoam men in business suits. And tell the truth, he was a little turned on by it all. He saw himself laughing and throwing styrofoam balls at the children, and his wife laughed in her own voice among the skyscrapers, and he laughed in his voice, but was so far removed from it all that he felt like none of it had any real value whatsoever. Not that it was meaningless exactly, just that it had no value. Suddenly, as if acknowledging this lack of existential value in all things previously thought important, capital I important, the styrofoam melted all at once, all over the earth, and the children went back to their houses, their homes, and suddenly it was only he and himself and his wife who came down from herself to talk with him, to figure a way out of this mess. She held his hand and said, "If you were nicer, perhaps we could get along, but I find you are usually drunk, and honestly, I just don't see you being very good father to your children, and so I have to say that I will maybe see you around, but I don't want to hold your hand anymore because you are mean and irreverent, and I no longer care that you're a businessman, ampersand, whatever else you say all the time." They went away to their house, their home, where they constructed babies from salvaged styrofoam and dressed them in tiny business suits. Business with a tiny B, and without any meaning, without anything of value as might pertain to capital B business. They seemed to be happy, which was amazing because they had previously thought it was impossible for anyone to be happy, let alone himself and herself, in business with a small b and no ampersand. He smiled.